Hey folks, and welcome back to Broadside Gaming with me, Zug. So today we're taking a look at the Veteran again. And as you can probably tell, it's another plasma build. But we've made some slight changes to this to make it a little bit more well-rounded, should we say. So, for our melee weapon, we're starting off with the Cadia Mark 13G Assault Chainsword. And with this, we're blessing it and perking it with damage to flak armor, and preferably the other would have been Maniac, but obviously don't have it. But 10% increased melee damage to specials, still pretty good. And blessings wise, we're going with Savage Sweep and Rampage, because the only time we're really going to be using this is when we're surrounded by a horde, and this is basically going to make it go into overdrive with Savage Sweep and Rampage. Hitting at least 3 enemies with both of them increases damage and cleave. So it's a really nice horde clear weapon. But obviously if you want to, you can use any other weapon you want. So you can use the Mark IV Chainsword, Shred and Rampage, good choices. You can go for a dagger if you really want to, with Flesh Terror and Uncanny Strikes. You do always want to take crit if you're running Flesh Terror though, that's one of your perks. You can take a Power Sword with Power Cycle, gives you 2 extra energized hits, and Wrath, really good for that cleave. And of course you can take a Shock Maul if that is your thing. I like Skullcracker and Opportunist, but you can also take Falter or Hammer Blow. You know, Hammer Blow is quite good because you can basically stagger anything with that. You know, you've got quite a lot of variety in what weapon you want to choose. I just prefer to stick with the Chainsword. It's a nice and effective way of dealing with unarmored and armored foes, especially with the Shredder ability on them. Now, for the Plasma Gun, we're going with Gets Hot and Glory Hunter, though you can change this up if you really want to, with Gets Hot and Shattering Impact, or what was the other one? Oh yeah, Gets Hot or Blaze Away. Gets Hot and Blaze Away are probably the best damage output, whereas Gets Hot and Shattering Impact are probably best for team damage to the target as well, as Shattering Impact puts 4 stacks of brittleness on the target, which works. Brittleness is basically rending, but for the entire team. So the target will take 20% increased damage with the brittleness. But I like Glory Hunter because it just helps feed into the veteran's need for massive amounts of toughness. And perk-wise, I'd go for Flak and Maniac, or Carapace and Maniac, but probably Flak, as it is the most prevalent armor in the game. Now, for the curios, I'm running a max health, a toughness, and a toughness. The veteran does do quite well with all 3 toughness, but I do prefer just to run 1 max health just to help that chip damage when the toughness is broken. So on all of them, we're running toughness regeneration speed with extra toughness and damage resistance gunners, as gunners are the most dangerous thing in the game at the moment. Pretty simple setup, but very effective. The toughness regeneration speed is very important for the veteran, again, because he's an absolute sot for toughness, and that's all he wants. But as I said, if you want to, you can run all 3 toughness. It's completely up to you. Now, let's jump into the talents. We're going over here on the left for long shot. Deal up to 20% ranged base damage bonus is reduced the nearer the target is. So on long range hits, you are dealing up to 20% more damage. And we're going down the middle here for close order drill. Up to 33% toughness damage reduction, the more allies in coherency. Confirmed kill, replenish 10% toughness on elite or special enemy kill, and a further 20% toughness over 10 seconds. Then coming straight down here for the crack grenade, which is going to be dealing with armor when and if we run out of ammo. This is going to be great for chucking onto Ogryns and monstrosities alike. And then the change, we're coming over here for 10% increased melee damage and serrated blade. So we've gone for this because no matter what you do as the veteran, you will eventually get surrounded, and this is just going to help us clear out that horde as quickly as we can so we can get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is sniping specials and elites for our team and breaking armor. Then back into the middle for increased health. Covering fire. When you kill an enemy with a ranged attack, allies within 5 meters of the target replenish 15% toughness and receive plus 10% to all base damage for 3 seconds. Just a really nice team boost. And here we're going with Fire Team. 5% damage for you and allies in coherency. Down into Demolition Stockpile, replenish 1 grenade every 60 seconds. Now, Voice of Command. We're going to shout people healthy. Duty and Honor. Voice of Command now also provides you and your allies a coherency of plus 50 toughness for 15 seconds. This can exceed your maximum toughness. 25% suppression dealt. Then we're going to jump over here to the left for 5% range damage into Precision Strikes for plus 30% weak spot damage. Fully Loaded for plus 25% ammo. And into Superiority Complex for plus 15% base damage to elites. Then jump back over to the middle. For the Emperor, your combat ability gives you and allies in coherency 10% melee-based damage and 10% range-based damage for 5 seconds. Tactical Awareness, combat ability cooldown reduced by 6 seconds on specialist enemy kill. And that's basically our job. We are here to snipe specialists. Iron Will, plus 50% reduced toughness damage if above 75% toughness. This does work very well with a 3 curio toughness build. So just remember that. Then we're going to go to Bring It Down, 20% damage to Ogryns and monstrosities. Rending Strikes give you plus 10% rending to all weapons. Rending basically works out to just 10% increased damage. And then all the nodes for Focused Target. Tagging an enemy applies the Focused Target stacks to them, causing them to take plus 4% additional damage by each stack and resets your Focused Target stacks to 1. So now we've maxed them out to 8. If an enemy you have tagged dies, replenish 5% toughness and 5% stamina for each stack of Focused Target and applies to you and allies in coherency. And Redirect Fire, if an enemy you have tagged dies, grant 1.5% damage for each stack of Focused Target applied to you and your allies in coherency last 10 seconds. This is an extremely high damage build, but it also has a lot of support. So the Plasma Gun, a lot of people go, oh, it's the meta, it's boring, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's the meta because it's just that good. And after playing with it for a while, you will find things are a lot easier on the Veteran with this. Especially the fact that you can shoot through most targets. So if there is a horde of rages coming, just aim for the chest of the head and fire through them. Don't forget, vent your heat. Obviously you can't overcharge if you're just using the quick shots. You'll just take a little bit of toughness damage and then it will reset. But if you are charging it with the right mouse button, your weapon can blow up and will blow up. As you see, there you go, I've overcharged it, the weapon's sad, and we die. As for when you should charge, generally, Ogryn and monstrosities. Aim for the face, blow through them. Everything else, normal shots would just be just fine. So, as I showed off in the last video, there is a way to skip the reload animation because it's incredibly slow. So what you do, you reload your weapon, turn, put it away. Turn, put it away. Turn, put it away. Every time you see either the back bit or the bottom bit turn slightly, you put the gun away. You press Q to switch your weapons, or whatever the button is on the console. I'm sorry, I don't know. Let's just do that again. Press, put away. Press, put away. Turn, put away. And that is how you reload incredibly quickly. Now, for this build, obviously, we have crack grenades. That is an incredibly good way of dealing with bulwarks and crushers. And one thing you have to remember with this, when you see a group of bulwarks and crushers coming towards you, they're usually all standing on top of each other and running in. What you do, hit them with a crack, run up to them, shout to stagger them all together, and hopefully you'll be able to kill if not all of them, most of them, with one grenade. So if you shout and stagger, it should pile them all up. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time, but it's a good way to maximize one grenade. Now, there is a slightly different way you can build this. If you're not happy with serrated blade and the increased melee damage, what you can do, take it out of those points, you can put a point into field improvisation, which your team will love you for, and you can either go down here to competitive urge, and I know this is not a usual thing to be taken, but I've played with this and it does proc way more than you think it will, and this just gives you a base damage buff quite a lot. So you get a 20% base damage and 20% melee impact and 20% suppression for 8 seconds on any ally kill. And it doesn't even have to be incoherency. Any ally that kills something, there is a 2.5% chance that you will get this buff. And it procs way more than you think it does. So I was just trying it out, at least for a game or two, see what happens. But if you don't like that, you go with field improvisations and maybe 5% crit over here. Or you can go for some melee damage. I'd probably go for that node, to be honest, because why would you take 5 when you can take 10? Or if you really want to, you can come down here into Exhilarating Takedown. Replenish 15% toughness and gain 10% toughness damage reduction for 8 seconds on ranged weak spot kill. Stacks 3 times. So I would suggest field improvisations and Exhilarating Takedown. It was bugged for a very long time, which is why most people don't use it. But it is a very good talent to take, especially if you're running mostly toughness or all toughness curios. All you have to do is to remember to aim for the face. And the plasma gun really does have a lot of leeway when it comes to what counts as a weak spot kill. Because it's not just the projectile that's hitting, it's the explosive component around it that also clips whatever you're hitting. So you'll find even if you fire slightly off center, it still counts as hitting the dog. So, as you can see, it doesn't work all the time, but the projectile is slightly larger than you think it is. So, that is a way to do it if you want to. So that is Exhilarating Takedown and Field Improvisation. Or if you want to stay with just a bit more of a well-rounded build, you can stay with Melee Damage Boost and Serrated Blade. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is I'm going to get to the talent tree. I'll slowly scroll down so it gives you a chance to pause and look. And there you have it. This is the build I use, almost completely use this build all the time on Auric. I exclusively use it. That was the word I was looking for. Yeah, when I play Auric, this is basically the build I go with. If the team needs it, though, I will switch over to Field Improvisation and Exhilarating Takedown. There you have it. The slightly updated Plasma Commander build. I really hope you guys enjoy it. If you do, please do like, subscribe, ring that little bell for notifications. It really does help us out. And I shall see you all for the next video. So until then, take it easy. I'll see you later.